So, when I was a child, I was always sick. My constant companion was asthma. I would wheeze and I would cough, and it would just follow me everywhere. And there were times where I couldn't play, I couldn't run, heck, I couldn't even laugh without gasping for air. My body just felt so fragile, and I felt like I just had to be careful to just simply exist. That wasn't the only fragility that I carried. I had this thing where I would meet people, and I just didn't meet them, I would feel them. I could walk into a room and immediately sense the mood. Was it heavy, tense, happy? And it wasn't just an awareness, it was an intensity. It's like someone turned the volume up on every emotion in the room. And as a little girl, that was a lot to carry. I carried feelings like other kids carried their backpacks or book bags, heavy and unavoidable. So I carried two things. One, my little lungs couldn't catch a breath, and two, my heart couldn't catch a break. But over the years, I've learned that joy was always there. It didn't always roar, sometimes it whispered. And it came in the small ways. When my mom's gentle hand was on my back when I was having an asthma attack, when my dad would make jokes to try to make me smile, and when my sister and I would giggle when we were supposed to be asleep. So joy lived in the in-between moments. And there was one night of the entire year where joy roared, and that was Christmas Eve. My mom and dad and my sister and I, we'd pack up the car and we'd drive from Ohio to Indiana to go visit my grandma and grandpa Matney. And I can see it like a movie in my mind. My sister and I wedged in the back seats, surrounded by coats and presents and way too many snacks. We would press our little faces against the cold glass, just racing to see who could find the first Christmas lights. We would sing loudly to the Christmas music on the radio, and then sometimes we would just fall quiet and listen to the hum of the tires against the road. And then when we entered that small little Indiana town, to me, the whole world turned Christmas. The Christmas lights were wrapped in glittery garland. The shop windows were dressed up in ribbon and lights. And Santa's house with his reindeer. Well, the reindeer, they were plastic, but it was still magical to me. But then we would turn down that road, and there it was, Grandma and Grandpa's house. The candles glowing in the window, the trees shining through fogged up glass. That first glimpse, it always made me breathe easier. Before we could even knock, my grandpa, he was out the door and he was smiling and waving us in. And the warmth of that stove wrapped around me as soon as I stepped in. And the smell of the fuel mixed with the ham and cinnamon and cakes and pies. And the love was in the air. It filled every part of me that ever felt empty. Now that was a lot to feel for a little girl whose lungs failed her sometimes, and a heart that felt too much. But it was a balance. And it gave me the opportunity to take a deep breath and do it safely. But I've got to share with you my favorite part of Christmas Eve. It was caroling. I love to carol. Who does that anymore, right? So we'd go caroling, and my mom and my sister and my cousins, my aunts, and my grandmother, we would get all bundled up, and we'd go knock on doors, and we would sing. And many of the neighbors would invite us in, and they would give us hot cocoa, and we would sit there with our cheeks pink and our hearts full. And then later, back in the living room at my grandparents' house, we had a tradition where my grandfather would present my grandmother with a new dress every year. It was for church. And that was a magical moment too. But as an adult, I realized that the moments and the memories, they don't replace all the struggles. But I have learned how to breathe through them. And I've learned that joy doesn't replace pain, it sits beside it. And sometimes it even helps carry it. So many of those people from those Christmas Eves of past are no longer here. My grandparents, my parents, aunts, uncle, their laughter, their joy, and their love, they live in me. It's those songs that I sing when I'm baking Christmas cookies. And it's the lights that I hang on my own tree. To me, joy will always be candles in the window, and it'll be that shining tree through fogged up glass. Now that is Christmas, and that is home. And I'm telling you what, that is joy.